Everyone, and welcome to the public hearing on the proposed City of Winston-Salem budget for the fiscal year 2022-2023. I want to say the committee members are here. Sandy did that. The clerk did that, not me. Again, welcome to everyone to the public hearing on the proposed City of Winston-Salem budget for the fiscal year 2022 and 2023. All committee members here are here from the Finance Committee except Councilmember Clark, who had to leave. We do have all of the other council members here and are present, as well as the mayor, which is Councilmember Jeff McIntosh, Councilmember Taylor, and myself. The public hearing is a time set aside for citizens to voice their opinions and concerns regarding the City of Winston-Salem's 2022-2023 proposed budget. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to speak. At this time, I am going to call up Mr. Scott Tesh to give a review of what we're doing here this evening, and then I will call the names of the persons that have signed up. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Vice Chair, Mayor, and members of the Finance Committee and City Council. I have a very brief presentation that we will throw up here for the proposed 22-23 budget. As you can see, as we've discussed, a $625.8 million budget with increases in operations, debt service, and capital. Total change year to year of roughly $93 million. A majority of that is in capital projects funds, specifically the $55 million in LOBs that we just talked about at the 5 o'clock meeting. There is roughly $19 million in compensation changes across all funds for new positions, as well as merit increases in new public safety pay plans. Substantial increases for vehicle acquisition to get back on target with vehicle replacement, and then additional payments on principal and interest for debt that has already been authorized and issued. In terms of that $55 million, very quickly, about a third for quality transportation, a third for livable neighborhoods, and a third for economic vitality and diversity. Smaller amounts for the roof at the Joycelyn Johnson Municipal Services Center and improvements for the 911 transition. I would note also that LOB's package does not include a tax increase. Total budget overall, the environmental health category is the largest, as it always is, because of our water and sewer system and other utility. Moving down from there, we can see public safety, transportation, and so on at each of their respective percentages. On the resource side, charges for services, that again is reflective of the user fees for the water and sewer system. Do see property taxes is about a third of total overall resources, with federal and state grant resources, and then sales tax rounding out those at 10% or above. In terms of the property tax rate, we do have a 2.36 cent proposed property tax rate increase for fiscal year 23. Roughly a penny and a half of that related to increases for personnel, including supporting the new public safety pay plans, and roughly 9/10 of a penny for the net increase in recycling costs. Do want to show here the city taxes and fees comparison that shows amongst the 5 largest cities in North Carolina based on average household cost. That we are the lowest of those 5 based on their proposed budgets, tax rates and fees in FY23. Other than this public hearing, there is another meeting next Thursday of the Finance Committee as a budget workshop, and then the budget should be adopted on June 21st. The Finance Committee does meet on the 13th if there are additional needs. That is an if needed meeting for budget. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tesh. We will now hear from the first speaker, Mr. Golly Hassan. People coming to the mic, would you please state your name and your address, please? Thank you.
My name is Golly Hassan. I live at 5116 Britt Road. And my concern about the budget is I just heard that there was about $1 billion for streets, sidewalk repairs. A lot of the minority contractors in the area.
Mr. Hassan, would you please speak more in the mic or move the mic so we can hear you?
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay, thank you.
that $1 billion, I would hope that the local minority contractors participate in this money. It just doesn't make sense for us to come around and see companies from all over the world here working. Minority contractors are not. The numbers speak for themselves. We're getting about 1 or 2% based on your disparity study. 1 to 2% of this money, and it's not going to local people. And my question is, can you, as a city, spend money that you all have not put in the budget? Is that possible? It's not supposed to happen, is it? If it's not in the budget, the city staff and so on shouldn't spend the money. We're in a situation here presently where we have a situation where a contractor is being paid now for 2 years based on the contract being illegal. They basically told the Utilities Commission they didn't receive any contracts when they did. And it's costing us a tremendous amount of money. They are paying him $226,000 for work that we are doing for $16,000. How is that right? And you're not just robbing me, you're robbing the whole tax base when you allow contractors to walk out of here with that much money every week for 9 years. And it's not in your contract because it's not in your budget because no one knew how they got that contract.
Mr. Hassan, your time is up. Thank you so much. I know that staff is here, and they will address this for the city council. Again, the comments that you made to the public or anyone sounds discerning, but I'm confident that our staff will get back to explain this to the total council. Thank you for so much. Mr. James Grace. Please state your name and your address.
I'll get these passed out. Yes, my name is James Grace. I live at 500 Gaither Road,
You can give that to
Winston-Salem, North
Patrice
Carolina.
Tony, the assistant manager. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to speak at this time. I got down here because I know it's a short time for budget adoption. Unfortunately, I finished the greatest housing plan in the world 2 weeks ago. So I didn't want you all to go into deliberation without being able to look at this plan and see what I'm talking about. As most of you know, my background is community development. And I have been involved in community development for 30 years in construction and housing. This plan is so innovative that you need to take time and really look at it because it has a lot of value. We're talking about being able to create at least 1,000 homes, that's $200 million in homes, over the next 5 years. And we need it because based on what the housing deficit is and the fact that we can only produce 1,300 houses a year, you need something like this. And I need $1.5 million for 2 years. 500,000 will go to my organization, which is a nonprofit, to staff it up, to prepare for this, and $1 million as a revolving loan because every crew that's doing housing needs $200,000 always available to them as they build the house, sell it, flip it, and we start over. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grace. And forgive me, anyone, if I mispronounce your name. Elizabeth Dampier? Thank you.
Good evening. Elizabeth Dampier, Executive Director at Callidium, located at 400 West Haynes Mill Road, Winston-Salem, 27105. Mayor Pro Tem, fellow council members, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight and to speak to you. It's very important that we have the opportunity to share with you what's going on at Callidium and to thank you for your support, which is critical to our success and being able to continue to offer accessibility and accessible programs to our entire community. While we are still recovering from COVID, we find ourselves in a good financial position, in part due to your support at critical times and because of hard choices that our board made. But interestingly, the numbers that we are seeing coming back the most are those that are part of our Museums for All program, which are those that are able to come at the museum for a discounted rate every day if they have an EBT card. We also see those community access passes that we have in all of our libraries that can be checked out by those that have a library card being checked out all the time. In fact, libraries have suggested they need more cards. We also see that about 50% of those visitors that we have coming back are from low-income zip codes as identified by the census. So what we see here is that everyone in our community values education and they value the opportunities that the exhibits and the programs at Callidium provide. And again, your support is critical to this. We are able to offer new programs now like Invention Convention, which we worked with 250 K-5 students this year, and we anticipate working with 1,500 students next year. Invention Convention asks students to come up with a real-world problem and then to identify a product solution to that. They write a business plan, and then they present about that, and they're judged. And the winners get to go to national competition. In fact, we have some that were in Michigan just this week participating in the national convention. I want to read to you one of the quotes that we have from one of the teachers whose students participated, because again, your funding allows us to reach all of these students. This is a student at Ward Elementary who has the opportunity to be in Michigan right now, and the teacher says, "My heart is full and smiling. Today, a few of my students participated in the first annual Invention Convention at Callidium North. My black male student got to meet and talk to not one black male engineer, but 3 with over 50 patents between them. I saw the sparkle in his eyes and the wonder of seeing someone who looked like him. It was like he was looking at his future self. Today was a good day. They made a difference, a moment, an experience he nor his mother will ever forget. Y'all, I cried because I was so full. This is why I teach, and this is why I say yes to many opportunities presented that directly benefit my students. Your support helps make this happen in our community. Thank you, and I ask you to continue to support Callidium."
Thank you. Lois Wade.
Good evening, Council, Mayor Joines, Mayor Pro Tem, and staff. Lois Wade, 3835 Lakeview Drive in Pufftown. I'm here tonight to talk a little bit about the Lakeview Bridge project. If some of the council is not familiar with this is a bridge that was condemned over 2 years ago. It thereby took away one of our 3 access roads to our community that serves quite a number of families and several mile radius. It's been a little bit of a challenge because it's put a lot of traffic on roads that were not built for this kind of traffic. They're windy, hilly, curvy roads meant for golf carts originally. They have ditches on the side, but the real challenge has been for emergency vehicles. And we've had several incidents where the emergency vehicles' GPS led them to the closed bridge. They then had to figure out how to get to the house from there. It's an 8-minute detour, and in some cases, that could be the difference between life and death. Luckily, in our situation, it has not been that way, but that has been the constant fear. And my question tonight is that we've received kind of conflicting information about the status of the funding for the bridge. We were originally told that it would be from infrastructure funds from the federal program. Then there was the possibility that Kathy Manning would earmark funds for it. I have recently been told that funding was actually in this year's budget for the bridge, or that it might be proposed on June 21st. So my question tonight is, could we as a neighborhood know what the status of the funding is?
Thank you, Ms. Wade. Mr. Tesh, could you, City Manager, City Attorney, is Mr. Tesh allowed to respond?
Certainly, if Mayor Pro Tem Adams would like for him to respond now or later, whichever you prefer.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Mayor, members of the City Council. As we discussed just an hour earlier, that bridge will be fully funded as part of the '23 budget. There's a $550,000 general fund balance appropriation that is the gap funding for the construction of that bridge. The rest of the funding for the construction is coming from a project balance in another bridge. So in the fiscal year '23, the construction portion of that bridge will be fully funded.
Thank you. So, Ms. Wade, does that answer your question?
Yes, I think I understand that it will be in the 23-24 budget.
2022 and '23, what they will vote on the 21st.
Okay, and that's the one that we'll vote on June 21st. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Mr. Hale Smith.
To the full council of the City of Winston-Salem, I count it a pleasure to be here today. I am Hale Smith, and I live at 3579 San Carlos Road here in Winston-Salem. I'm president of Eureka Ministry, and we have been helped by you for many years to help the ex-offender population in our city. Without you, many would have gone without homes, without a place to stay, getting out of prison. And I want to just say today, thank you for all that you've done, and I appreciate you, each one of you, for doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sam Matthews.
Good evening, Mayor Joines and City Council members. Sam Matthews, the Executive Director of the Shepherd Center of Greater Winston-Salem, 1700 Everett Street, 27103. On behalf of the Shepherd Center and those we're privileged to serve, I want to thank you for your valuable support this past fiscal year and also including us in the FY23 budget. The city's investment is paying significant dividends in the people that we're serving. For every dollar that the city has invested in the Shepherd Center, we're returning $18 on every dollar invested. During 2021, we served in excess of 6,900 older adults throughout the community. 85% of those live within the city limits of Winston-Salem. We experienced a 20% increase in the number of older adults served just this past year. We were fortunate to remain open during the COVID-19 pandemic and to continue to provide needed essential services. These services included over 15,000 requests for one-way transportation to medical appointments and grocery shopping, nearly 700 minor home repairs, and these exceptional results were made possible with your funding. The Shepherd Center is also one of the two state-certified senior centers in Forsyth County. And as a senior center of excellence, we are providing activities for active older adults, over 50 per week, in various locations throughout the community, with an attendance this year estimated to be around 40,000 individuals. Last year, our volunteers contributed over 30,000 hours of service to the community, which resulted in over $1 million of savings to this community. We also serve as the coordinating site for the Seniors Health Insurance Information Program, which is a Medicare counseling program provided through the North Carolina Department of Insurance. And last year, the department indicated that we saved over $250,000 for about 1,500 Medicare beneficiaries in this community. We have requested $25,000 in support for this year. We hope that that could be looked at over and above the budgeted recommendation of $15,000. And I certainly want to express on behalf again of those we serve for your continued confidence in our work and your inclusion in the city budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Doug Simmons.
Doug Simmons, President of Winston-Salem Professional Firefighters Association, 2610 Greencrest Drive, 27106. Good evening, Madam Vice Chair, Mayor, members of the City Council. I'm here tonight, first off, to thank the city manager and his staff for the tremendous amount of work that they've put into creating this budget proposal. And I really do appreciate the efforts that have been made on the public safety end to recognize the compression, salary compression that's affecting both police and fire, and the need to provide a career ladder for both entities as well. My concern here is, though, is, police and fire, as Mr. Garrity will say, he can't do for one he can't do for one and not the other. And if you look at the proposal, there's a discrepancy there in between the amounts for the promotion for the 2 new ranks and also for the compression adjustment. And in this day and age, we're losing firefighters just as fast as we're losing police officers, and we don't want that experience to walk out the door. If many of you remember the Weaver fire back in January, the only reason that did not turn out to be one of the deadliest incidents in this city's history is because of the experienced people that were on the ground making spur-of-the-moment decisions to save lives and protect property, which is what we do. And you can't replace that. We can't even replace a 3-year person with somebody that we hire tomorrow. And we feel that it's important for us to be treated as equally as the police are. It's a matter of public safety. We're not up here just asking for more money. We're asking to be treated fairly. Feel like you guys love us as much as you love the police officers. So I just would ask that you would consider to make the appropriate adjustments to this proposal to show that. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any others that didn't sign up that would like to speak? All right. Attorney, I close the public hearing, and then the public hearing and the proposed budget is now closed. Do I have any comments or questions from any of the council, the mayor, or anyone that you would like staff to know? Okay. Mr. Tesh, I think you heard my request the other day. I think Councilmember Scipio might have leaned that way a little bit. Information is key, and I would definitely like to see, and again, I can't remember whether I suggested that I wanted this information. I need to see the side-by-side comparison of police and fire. And I also need to understand what other cities are doing in like, okay?
Yes, ma'am, that will be in the response packet next week.
Thank you so much. If all minds are clear, this hearing is adjourned.